Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we're looking at the Maxpedition Proteus Versipack. So this is something in their Legacy series that fortunately is still in production. However, it has decreased the options for the color selections that are available. So the first things first is what this is going to be good for. So right off the bat, it is going to be essentially a butt pack as they describe it. So it's a waist pack that the bag is designed to sit in the rear. That way you're actually going to use this main strap as a belt, and you're going to have a small selection of gear able to bring with you. Now, the reason I bought this in particular was actually for kayaking. So, canoeing. Now, one of the big things that I was focused on was I wanted a way to keep a small selection of gear with me at all times, regardless of whether or not I flipped the boat over and lost everything else down the river. Now for me, this was perfect size because, let's face it, Maxpedition has always been a great product. It is reasonably water resistant because it does have the triple poly coat on the material, and it's going to keep out a lot of that moisture very well if it does get a little bit damp. Now, after probably about 15 miles of kayak or canoeing on this one, nothing inside's gotten wet yet, so that's a good sign for me. Now, what I do want to do is just walk you through some of the things that I'll put inside this just for a quick demonstration of what you can really fit in here, how this will be useful for you, and to see if that will actually fit your needs. So, right off the bat, we do have a knife on the side. This is going to be a K-Bar Becker BK15. Now this unfortunately has been discontinued, but it is a knife that's been very reliable, very useful, and very robust. This particular one has been modified a little bit with things like the green liners and a little bit of the reprofiling in the rear. Part of the reason I chose to go this route was because it does have the dual snap retention, so if I do flip the boat, I'm not going to worry about losing the knife, and it's going to stay very secure in there. In the front pouch, we do have a fire steel, and that one I believe is just a Coghlan's, but it's just a nice thick fire steel that's not going to wear out too fast on you. Now, as far as the main bag itself, you can actually run the waist belt into the back of the pouch here. And you'll actually see there's a compartment that you can Velcro that in there and essentially just carry it with the carry handle up top. I've never done it. Same thing, there's also straps up to here, so you could actually run it with a shoulder strap. Personally, I would see no valid reason to do so, and it wouldn't fit my use in any way. But it's there as an option for you. Now, across the top, once you pull the carry handle out of the way, you have the primary section up here with two big zippers, and these are YKK zippers. They've been very robust, very reliable, and they do have the, not quite a paracord pull, but it's very close to it. And then you have a nice big section in the top. So here's a few examples of what you can really fit in here. Now, this is not going to be a tailor-made kit for most people. This is just a few things I have in here just to get you an idea. So right off the bat, we do have some of the camping toilet paper because, let's face it, who wants to be without toilet paper when they're in the middle of the woods? Just some random nuts we have tossed in here. A couple packages to get by for the day. Do have plenty of room for a small water filter. This one in particular is the Frontier filter, which I honestly, I'm not a big fan of this one overall because they don't really have the greatest filtration rating, and they're really just the bare minimum. I mean, personally, I would recommend this if you're boiling it and still want to get some additional comfort level added in. But it's better than nothing, and frankly, I'd rather drink something through that than just drinking it straight out of a river or a lake. For the medical side of things, we do just have a Quick Clot Sport in here. Now, this is going to be good for more of the lacerations or just basic blood loss. It's not going to be more geared towards the gunshot wounds, things like that, where you will see the Z-Pack gauze that is also impregnated with the Quick Clot or Celox. Next up, we have the SOL Scout Kit. Now, the main reason this ended up in here is because it's a good self-contained kit that does a little fishing kit. It has the fire starters, it has the quick tinder, it has the compass, it has the duct tape, it has the Mylar blanket, and a whistle, all in a waterproof bag. I mean, it's kind of tailor-made for something like a canoeing trip, things like that. Well, it would suck to have only that. That would definitely go a long way in getting you through the night if you were stuck in the woods with that. Next up, we have a Mini-Mag AA flashlight. This is one of the LED conversions I've done in the past. Not the brightest, but it's a nice, reliable light that does work well. Next up we have just an old film container filled with Vaseline and cotton, two little fire starters. And finally we have the Essie Azula, which this one, again, nice small little knife, great for inside the pouch there. This particular one I don't believe I've actually used yet, but of the other ones they've all seen a lot of use and have done very well for me. I'll have to do a review on that one later on as well. Now, inside the pouch, one of the main things you'll see is it does have just pretty much a wide open space here, and it does have the mesh pocket in the front if you do want to rearrange some things for storage purposes, and it'll all work very well for you in that regard. Now, the next pouch you're going to see is the main front pouch here. This one's fairly small, but it does open a lot wider than the main pouch does. And I didn't really have a whole lot I need to put in here because, frankly, I wanted to keep this as light as possible. You do have two small pouches in here, which I've heard referenced as being used for mags and things like that. Personally, I don't see a good fit there because, frankly, it's too narrow and too wide for a mag pouch. But for me, I just tossed a few Mylar blankets in there because even though they are kind of the crappier versions and they're not the good tarp-style ones, these are nice and lightweight and pack easily. Roll of dog bags because, let's face it, we had a dog with us. And then finally some the Purell wipes because this will go very well with the toilet paper you saw a moment ago. And then finally we have two matching pouches on the sides, which at the moment I only have the one on the right hand side filled. Now this is really just geared towards small stuff you want to keep easily handy. You don't want to have to open up the main carry handle clips to actually get into. And this basically toss a little fire stick in there, so you have a Ziploc bag with a lighter, waterproof, or sorry, strike anywhere matches, not waterproof matches, fire tinder, and a little bit of duct tape on a credit card. And at the end of the day, this is really not geared to be a full-out kit that's going to be self-sufficient for weeks on end. This is really geared towards, okay, you just flipped a canoe over, you're going to be hiking through the woods for 8 to 10 hours to get to the car. So this will get you through a long way, and you're not going to lose it if you were to flip that boat over. Now that's how I designed this to be built out, and really why I own this in the first place. But it's really not limited to that for most people. So this is really a universal bag you can fit into a lot of different applications. Now, one of the biggest things I like about this kit, and the reason I actually was motivated to go this route, is because, as a lot of the more consistent viewers know, I'm a very big fan of Maxpedition. I have a lot of their other stuff, and I use it as frequently as I can. Now, as I referenced in one of my other reviews on the Falcon 2, this goes very well with the Falcon 2. Now, on the bottom of the Falcon 2, we have the straps at the bottom here. Now, what I love about this, and what really made the difference for me to buy this, because let's face it, I think I paid about 65, 70 bucks for this thing. It's not a cheap pack for such a small size, but it is very well made, and it works very well with other gear I already have. So once you open up the bottom pack the bottom straps on the Falcon 2, you can actually run this through these straps. Now what this is going to do for you is once you cinch this down, you actually are essentially making a retrofitted version of the Falcon, which is a newer product in the Maxpedition line that essentially addressed a lot of the concerns people had with the original Falcon 2. Now, I'm not going to go too detailed into the Falcon in this review here, but I will say that what this does for you is, if you're a taller person, so anything over, say, 5'5", 5'6", you'll find that the Falcon 2 does not have a waist strap low enough for you that it will actually sit on your hips. It'll actually sit somewhere in the middle of your stomach. So it doesn't really do a whole lot to take any weight off your shoulders. With this, you can now use the waist strap from the Proteus, and that'll actually work as a waist strap for the Falcon 2. And that makes it enormously more comfortable, and you can actually put more weight in the pack because you also not only have more weight carrying capacity, but you also have a better waist belt to carry that weight onto your hips rather than just on your shoulders. Now, I have seen a lot of different people that have actually taken this strap and run it through the MOLLE webbing, but I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest, because at the end of the day, if I want to access something in here, I don't want to have to unweb this entire thing, run it back through the buckles, and that just makes it a giant pain. And at the end of the day, this holds it plenty secure because all the weight is coming vertically. So it's not coming back and forth, it's not coming left and right and side to side. It's going to be just compression. And for that, this little bit of support is more than enough. And if you take the bag off, it'll easily stay together. And if you are concerned about it, all you need to do is take the buckle and buckle it together when you take it off, and there's no way it's going anywhere because you'll then have a looped system that cannot let go of itself. And at the end of the day, when you want to get to stuff, or if you just want to separate the bags, you're not going to be carrying that much weight that day, take 5 seconds and it's all back to normal, and it's like it was never even attached. So, at the end of the day, the Proteus has been an awesome bag for me. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Now, the one thing I wish I had bought this sooner. Unfortunately, the color selection, as I mentioned before, is more limited now that this is part of the Legacy series from Maxpedition. So as you may have noticed, the color pattern does not match perfectly, and I had to go with the closest I could find. So this is a pure Coyote. This was the Coyote and OD Green. They no longer make this color pattern for the Proteus, to the best of my knowledge, and this was the closest I could get. So it's going to be a little bit annoying if you're very particular about making sure everything matches, but for me, it was close enough. I'm not going to worry about it. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments section below, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good one, guys.